Debugging. There are a couple of interpersonal glitches that I feel should be discussed in wrapping up this recording. The first is that many times in seminars when I teach the Stay Calm method, participants are shocked at the upfront nature of this method. Our culture in America is one that abhors being direct. We are overly concerned with being politically correct and often avoid dealing with the reality of our problems because we are so obsessed with being nice. This condition leads to people becoming resigned to the status quo, no matter how miserable, and, as a result, being bitter about their relationships, their lives, and their very existence. The result is that a lot of people complain about the condition their lives are in, but are unwilling to engage in new behaviors to change those conditions. Here is one of the bugs in this system: complaints. Complaints are not attacks per se, but they have an erosive effect on the quality of our environment. Anyone who has sat through daily breaks and lunch hours or lived with a complainer for a number of years can relate to the feelings of defeat and despondency that are brought on by constant exposure to complaining. So let's handle this bug. Complaining occurs as an outward expression of an inner commitment or need that is not being met. When we are dealing with a complainer, we must learn to look for the commitment behind the complaint, for the unmet needs that aren't being fulfilled. In the chapter on the blend step, there were 2 examples of poorly expressed feelings that were statements of complaint. Let's listen to those again and see if we can discover the commitment behind the complaint. Sister: I feel it is useless to talk to my boyfriend. He simply refuses to listen. The commitment that is driving the complaint is that sister wants to have an open relationship with her boyfriend. The unexpressed feelings are despondency and maybe even desperation, and certainly frustration and a little anger. She would be fulfilled if there were clear and effective communication between them. Employee: I feel my boss is being manipulative. He plays all of us against each other. The commitment behind this complaint is to having a high level of trust and confidence in the relationship with his boss. Employee is trying to express feelings of inferiority, of being used and confused, and generally dissatisfied with the management style of his boss. Employee would be fulfilled if his boss made clear requests and encouraged his people to do the same. This is a big step in helping other people around us avoid conflict in their lives. By partnering with complainers and speaking to their commitments and not to their complaints, we can often help people connect with their true feelings and needs and give them tools to help achieve a higher degree of fulfillment in their lives. As managers or leaders, we will create an environment of trust and confidence when we can effectively address the commitment behind our people's complaints. This one tool alone can bring a greater level of harmony into our day-to-day lives. I recommend listening to the list of feelings from the chapter titled Real Feelings several times. Become familiar with the language of feelings. Most of us are very disconnected from our feelings. When you can provide gentle coaching to help people reconnect with their own emotional state, you will quickly be identified as a peacemaker and sought out as a diplomat. On to the last bug, and then it will be time to bid you farewell on your new journey into a life of greater harmony. Thinking patterns. The final bug is your own thinking patterns. The way we evaluate others, and more importantly, the way we expect others to act, is one of the primary reasons for the way people behave in our presence. Have you ever had someone look at you blankly when you describe the characteristics and behaviors of a mutual acquaintance? They look into their own experience and come back with, no, they aren't like that when I'm with them. In Covey's book, he writes about a glitch in classroom scheduling that had a class of behaviorally challenged high school students accidentally labeled as gifted students. They were mistakenly directed to take class with a few unsuspecting teachers who assumed they were gifted students. The administration decided not to tell anyone, and see what happened. The challenged students all ended up outperforming the rest of the student body by the end of the semester. When the teachers were asked what methods they employed to achieve such results, they said, "We tried our usual methodology but weren't getting the results we wanted, so we tried different techniques, knowing that these students might need to be challenged at a higher level, and they responded wonderfully." Most people will live up or down to our expectations of them. Unless you are particularly strong-willed, your concern of what others are thinking of you will drive your behavior. You'll underperform or overachieve according to the evaluation of your abilities by the authority figures or leaders in most group situations. So, when we are talking about the dynamics of changing human behavior, keep at the top of your mind that your own beliefs about another person's ability to change is in no small part contributing to that person's success or failure in achieving results. Even if someone is having tremendous success in some other area of his or her life, your inability or unwillingness to see the changes will often bring about the very behaviors he or she has so proudly shifted away from when not in your presence. This concept is so important that in the book version of Stay Calm, I put the following saying on a single page. Give people permission to show up differently.